It's probably no secret by now that I love my studio apartment life. I have been living in this studio apartment for a little over a year, and while I have adjusted well to it and have done a decent job at putting it together, in my opinion, there are certainly things that still can be improved. Because I have lived here for a while now, I am fully aware of what works for me and what doesn't, and therefore which actions I can take to improve organization and overall my living here. So, I have decided to reorganize things a little to make my studio apartment life even more awesome. I used to keep all of my shoes at the bottom of my clothing rack, as well as on the floor underneath the rack itself. It looked quite cluttered and made vacuuming and cleaning around quite annoying. So I decided to solve the problem by getting 2 little stackable storage units for shoes so I can store neatly my shoes behind the door, leaving only the 2 bulkiest pair out on the clothing rack. Now it's easier to clean around and it just looks tidier overall. Also, this storage unit is very convenient as it takes very little space. As much as I liked my DIY nightstand that I had for over 6 years, it was fairly large and lacking on storage space, resulting in a quite cluttered surface despite my best efforts to keep it tidy. So, I decided to replace it. I went for a wooden stool that has a little storage compartment underneath, so I can keep all of my things organized and out of sight. I use it as a nightstand, but this can also double as an additional seat for guests or a little side table if needed. A few months ago, I have made a little low-budget makeover in my bathroom. Unfortunately, the rod that I stick to the wall with double-sided tape fell down, and I kept the hanging baskets on the radiator for several months, making things less practical overall and not particularly eye-pleasing. I decided that it was time for me to fix the rod again, this time using some strong adhesive, which will keep things in place better. I had some empty shoe boxes that seemed kind of a pity to throw away, as they can be great for storage. I decided to use them to organize my cat's wet food, treats, and accessories. Removing the single servings of wet food from the bigger packaging helps me keep things tidier and to save tons of space, as I can fit multiple bags and cans of food in the larger shoebox. The rest easily fits into the smaller one. I had a mismatch of food containers and jars. The problem wasn't the mismatch itself, but the fact that most containers weren't the right size or shape, making it difficult for me to keep things organized and save space in my kitchen. I took an honest look at what I had and kept only the containers that made sense for me to keep. I also bought a set of 3 containers at IKEA for only $8.99 of the right size and shape, and that I can easily store anywhere by stacking them on top of one another. It's not about having lots of food containers on hand, but having the right ones, especially when you're living in a tiny space like I do. When it comes to kitchen organization, something that makes a huge difference, especially in small spaces, is to have the right containers to store pantry staples into, instead of keeping everything in their packaging. I already had 2 secondhand containers that are slim and can be stored in my little kitchen cart, and bought 3 more to keep things like pasta, rice, oats, or legumes easily stored. This hack not only saves me space, but makes it also easier to see what I have, minimizing the risk of food waste or unnecessary purchases. Plus, even if the containers are not all the same, it just makes the kitchen cart look much tidier and less cluttered. My bookshelf was looking a little too full, to the point where I found it a little unsettling. I love reading and I enjoy having a book collection, but there were some books in there that I either didn't want to keep or wasn't going to read after all. I was lucky enough to be able to sell these and get a little money out of them. And the bookshelf looks much tidier now. Christmas decor is obviously used only once a year. I used to keep it underneath my bed, but I had to use a paper bag since I had nothing else to put stuff into. It was impractical when cleaning, and also I didn't like the idea of things getting dusty. Now everything fits into these 2 compact boxes that I bought. They have a lid and I can easily store the boxes underneath the sofa. I have been storing things underneath my bed ever since I moved into the studio, and honestly, this hack alone saves me an insane amount of space, not to mention how much it helps with organization. I use plastic containers with lid and wheels that make storage super easy and neat. However, I had some difficulties with bulky things like winter blanket, big bulky coats, etc. To save some money and find a more flexible option, I found these storage bags with zipper and a handle. They keep dust away, they store fantastically underneath the bed or the sofa, and they are perfect for seasonal clothes, things that I don't need to reach for too often, or bulky items. Finally, this has nothing to do with organization, but my apartment could use some green accents. And after thinking about it, I went ahead and bought this fake plant to decorate a bit. Why a fake one, you ask? This is, first of all, safe for my cat to be around, and also this is very much Jenny friendly because I am a terrible plant keeper. Projects that I still need to tackle but that are next on my to-do list: 1. Getting rid of the ugly and bulky scratching tree and replacing it with a nicer looking and space-saving option. And 2. A shelf in the kitchen for additional storage. I really hope you have enjoyed this video and found it helpful or inspiring. If so, please like it, share it, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in my next one.